right, so to those joining online, if you can't hear me, we can't hear you. You're unmuted, so you can just go ahead and say something. But during the presentation, just make sure your mics are muted. Did you get that? Okay, so it's 6 past. I think we can start. I don't want to take much of your time. The meeting for 1 hour to 1 hour 30 minutes. So hopefully that's enough to cover what I want to do today. How many minutes? No laptops. That's fine. This one you don't need a laptop. But now you can have any laptop after starting coding session. So before we start the coding session, I'm just going to do a presentation and just talk about the web with you guys. So I know Nasi, I'd said it's going to be a coding session, but I'd said split it 50-50. That way we talk about web first, sometimes we see what web is, and then we move from there. So maybe a first question to you guys. Is there anyone who has made a website? Any developers amongst us? Anyone? One day. What do you mean? I'm going on a website. Okay, so websites are pretty easy, guys. I'm sure good development, code, because they are very simple and anyone can learn them, even when I sort of computer science or software engineering or when I sort of anything to take cut and was talking about a website from scratch and auto. So that's the basis of website design. So if you already have a mindset, all the websites are easy. I'm telling you, after kind of 2 months, you already have my websites up and running. Now, if you want to pursue that. So let's just talk about what a website is for a second. Right there, you see that's the hit website. Tickets. If you want to buy, if you want to pay school fees, portal, no website. And for a school of technology, you must be wondering why does it look so simple? Confirm? Yeah, for a school of technology, that one looks very, very simple. But the idea of a website is to deliver as much content to your clients and communicate robustly without losing the message. So now my opinion is they never told me, but I think they keep this website like this. Websites that are out of the world, out of this world. What now you hit to a proposal to a proposal you would better this website. But I think they keep it this way, not because of our own, but because it's simple and I'm sure I need to navigate that. Like you can find whatever you want there easily without having to scroll or search for anything else. Which is about a website, everything is there and it's very basic and very straightforward. So I'm going to give you the textbook definition of what a website is. Whenever Wikipedia, this is what you're going to find. So a website is a collection of web pages. So that's your home page, that's your about page, your contact page. I'm sure most of you are familiar with what websites are. What my websites are. So, and unfortunately, there are some people in our audience who are thinking I'm too short. So I will have to mix with English as well. So website is a collection of web pages, related content that is identified by a common domain name and published on at least one web server. So what does that sentence mean? A collection of web pages. You have your home page, about page, contact page. It can even just be one page, which it's still a website. And related content that is identified by a common domain name. So a common domain name, for example, what is a domain name? www.example.com. If you remove the www there, what's an example.com? That's what you call a domain name from your URL. So a domain name is simply a unique name that helps users know what your website is. For instance, google.com, amazon.com, wikipedia.org, ndoma domain name yawo. For example, I don't know notable examples are wikipedia.org, google.com, and amazon.com there. And all publicly accessible websites collectively constitute the World Wide Web. So I'm sure I'm not adding about www dot whatever. So kana websites enyu uyagadzira website welcome uyagadzira website mese mukamaunganidza then you're networked or they are stored on a web server. That way now mani inonzi World Wide Web. So that's where you access my websites. And there are also private websites as well that can only be accessed on a private network, such as the company's internal website for its employees. So at the company I'm working at right now, Celebration Ministries International, we use an intranet as employees. So an intranet is just a private network. You have to my employees, a company, you're like that information, that website is only accessible by one who are employed at that company. So that's another form of a website there, but on a private network. So it's still the same thing. A website is a website, just web pages that are collected together. They're identified by a common domain name and published on at least one web server. And we're going to get into what a web server is in there. But for now, just know what the textbook definition of a website, it's a collection of web pages. Simple. All right. Moving on, I just want to give you a brief history of my websites. So there was a guy on the team, Berners-Lee. He was a British scientist, CERN. And the web was originally conceived and developed to meet the demand of automated information sharing between scientists in universities and institutes around the world. So when websites started, they were actually a very niche thing, accessible by scientists and universities. It wasn't like accessible to everyone. But the idea was to just make information readily available from ways. That's why this guy came up with the World Wide Web, where you can just store information on a website and anyone anyway can access it for research purposes. That's why I know have original websites. And when it started, it was pretty basic. I have a screenshot of the first website that was created, and at the bottom right corner, there's no screenshot of the original one. So the original one was it's been lost, but this is a copy. It's a closest copy to the first website that was launched in 1991. And as you can see, this is what you call a basic website. I'm going to one code, HTML. We'll get into what the code of websites will be. So this is very basic. You have your text, you have your headings, and you have your body. So that's the first website that was ever created. So the history of websites is pretty interesting from what it came from. Some websites are from that to seeing what you see on Amazon. I'm sure you guys have been on Amazon before or any other shopping sites. Usually my e-commerce sites are a very robust range of what websites can do and offer for you. This is very simple. You can actually make this today without opening the today. Very basic. But we're not going to get into that right now. So, history of websites. So this guy and the team, Berners-Lee, created the first website. I call its domain name. I forgot to put it there, but it is a very interesting domain name. I started with www for World Wide Web. Look what there. So he was the inventor in 1989. But then the first website was launched in 1991. All right, moving on. I hope I'm not moving too fast. If you have a question, now attend to you. And to those joining online as well, if you have a question, just raise your hands. I'll be able to see if there's a raised hand, then I can assist. So I'm going to go to my breathers, just to allow you guys to comprehend and just let things sink in. So let's move on to web server. What is a web server? Its definition, its features and uses. So from what I've talked about, is there anyone an idea about web servers? I don't know this. It's an open conversation. I'm sort of confused. All right. Anyone wants to guess what website it is? I mean, it's written on the board there, but I want you guys to tell me like your definition of what you think a web server is. I haven't know what web server is. No idea. Ndakatokumirira. No one moon anongoguessa chete kuti what is a web server? Even those online, if you want to say something, just raise your hand and I'll allow you to talk. Which got already, guys. Hands kutengesa nyoka. My websites, you can go ahead. Just guess, just a wild guess. Okay, who wants to read what's on the board? I think that's simple. Who wants to read that? Who wants to? I'm going to read it, guys. Yes, thank you.
So,
Before you do so, what's your name?
Ajia.
Nice to meet you. You can go ahead.
A web server is software and hardware that uses HTTP, hypertext with big protocol, and other protocols to respond to time-based speed of the web page.
All right. So do you guys see that? Paru pinda connection here web server and the World Wide Web. So we started with what's a World Wide Web. What is it? It's a collection of my websites one. That's the World Wide Web. But then is also a web server is a software and hardware that uses HTTP. If you don't know what that means for now, just ignore it. But I'm sure you're familiar with HTTP. Yes.
So I wanted to respond to your question.
Okay.
Based on the definition issue. So I think the web server is sort of like an internet between the user and the website or the web. And then since it says it displays website content, so maybe when the user is doing research and they request for information from the website, the web server then communicates with the website. Then it retrieves the information that the user was requested, and then it displays the information.
That's perfect, bro. That's perfect. That's a perfect response. I wouldn't have said it better myself. So what it was basically saying is a website is the mediator. It's the one that's between the client and the website. That's the web server. So I actually explained the way I wanted to say it there. So if only I had a marker, I forgot my markers. But anyway, a web server is a software and a hardware that uses HTTP. So I'm sure I'm not saying anything about it. You see, when you HTTP they end up www. So that's what you call hypertext transfer protocol. It's a protocol which can use for backend for you to be able to access my websites. So for now, you don't need to stress yourself with what HTTP not say. For now, you say that. But there's a protocol. There are protocols for things. The protocol for all things work. So as you can see, one is other protocols to respond to client requests label for the code. So can you now see Amazon.com. That's the client request. And in the back end, there's a server, there's a web server that's now working with him. I said to Amazon.com, what should I do? It now searches World Wide Web is on your web server, the Amazon, right? Then once you're on a web server, the Amazon, web server, in mind, send a packets and aligning that entire website to your client machine or to your browser or no chances that time. So that's where the web server comes in. Once it fetches your request, then it brings it to you on your computer. So the main job of a web server is to display website content through storing, processing, delivering web pages to the user. Besides HTTP, web servers also support SMTP and mail transfer. That's simple mail transfer protocol, and FTP file transfer protocol used for email, file transfer storage. So my protocol is and I'm saying okay, you get children in the class, data communications in talking. But if you want to start researching, then it's fine. But you don't need to stress yourself about Israel. And also don't think of that as a website. But they are pretty simple. Don't want to master out about it. So basically a website is someone has a website track anaweza kwa website ingana maana tunataka ku access and just go kwa browser tumeona www.example na domain name yako.com and web saver now they not display that information. Pretty simple. Funny if there are no questions, I'll just continue. So this one start up about web browsers now. So web browsers, this is really simple. I mean, we're familiar with the web browsers. Basically, much uses a lot by now. And the most popular web browsers being Chrome, Safari, Opera, Internet Explorer, and Firefox. And to tell you the big command it's Edge. And you guys familiar with Edge? Yeah. So that's what those are the web browsers. So a web browser is simply an application software for accessing the World Wide Web. So we're talking about code, manual code, that's a website, yeah, but how to actually do that. And but remember, code, it's not like it's Photoshop or a designer. It's actually it's text on one. So you need something that's able to interpret that text. You need something that's able to say, okay, can I find this H? I guess all my text, not always it's a legend. So this is what I'm supposed to be presenting. Look at me now your web browser. So web browser already given, they are there for free. So these browsers are responsible for actually interpreting code. And displaying what is also good. So they just basically application software for accessing World Wide Web. When a user follows the URL on the www.example.com, that's the URL. If you remove the www part, that's its only code the domain name. It's like a URL can that www. Then your domain name will do. I will do a demonstration of that in another session. But when a user follows the URL of the web page from a particular website, the web browser retrieves the necessary content from the website's web server. See where the website is coming at right now. So website server or web server, and then displays the page on the user's device. So a web server running at the back end, where you don't see it, but then the browser is what you see in front of the website. Pretty clear. For now, the explanation from a web browser. So, we move on to web development roadmap. Now it's about the interesting. Sorry to just dive in there. So a roadmap, I'm sure from the name of the roadmap, it's pretty simple and pretty straightforward. What is a roadmap? It's a strategic plan that defines the goal or desired outcome that includes the major steps or milestones needed to be reached. So when I look at the website, that's an entire project. I'm creating a website, entire project. But then you just don't wake up and walk a separate class of what you launch. Unless it's that good, that's possible. But then the roadmap, mind, it's not made for beginners. Like, how do you know what's the first thing I do? Where do I start from? What do I need to know? What language should I use? What tools should I use? Etc. And what's at my disposal? Look at the roadmap. So development is not already better than the years. You know, these roadmaps are made available for you online. There are always some roadmaps. And I don't move let's say that. But now you have a roadmap. It's supposed to guide you and show you now. This is what you do. This is what you should do. This is what you should start from, and this is where you're going. So on your website, Java, it's an e-commerce website. Don't think it's a language. Think some guide. Think something. You should scope your entire project from there. Then start marking my milestones. These are like important parts of the website. Let's say we're talking about that landing page. That's a milestone. Look at the about page. That's a milestone. Look at the database, that's another milestone. So your roadmap should be able to identify which app and company go in and actually achieve this. And that way you'll be able to set my timelines for yourself. And usually in one industry like myself, when you walk towards the Twitter website within six weeks or 3 weeks. So I hope from your experience of fantasy what a roadmap young road despite this part first, and this part next. That way, man, once I've spoke within 6 weeks, it's possible to create a website like this because you've done it before and you have experience now. So the purpose of these roadmaps is to give you an idea about the landscape and to guide you if you are confused about what to learn next, and not to encourage you to pick what's hip and trendy. So in development, kune programming languages around, kune tools ekushandisa akawanda, but roadmap just tells you you should do this. Then the tool you want to use is up to you. You can do your own research per side. This is the most appropriate tool for what I want to achieve, and use that. That's the beauty about development. You can't tools which you integrate. What is not so good at the end. And then you should grow some understanding of why one tool would be better suited for some cases than the other. And remember, hip and trendy never means best suited for the job. So guys, look at the JS. I'm sorry, I need to use some terms you don't know, but when what the JS and will be says selling a PHP, then you start trying to use JS for your code or for your website, but then from a PHP is the better option to go. So you need to do some research, and that's why the community is there. When you have a group of guys, what kind of website, we should back-end language, because they'll achieve this and that. And they are experienced developers in that group who will be able to help you, myself included. But when you DM if I'm to show you my WhatsApp, it's always full from school stuff and work stuff that I need response might be late. So communicating in the group, I would encourage you guys, don't be shy. But anyway, yeah, they experience people in their part 4s in there as well, guys. Make sure you use that knowledge. Because in part 1, GSC was sort of a niche thing. Part 4, and it was very hard for me to actually start developing by myself. And I had to from scratch, and then there was one friend of mine who then introduced GSC to me. There's actually a group for that. But then particular part 4s were not available. But these guys now, I've spoken to most of them and they're ready to help. And they actually have some stuff they want to learn as well, because we are all still students, and development, you keep growing as time progresses. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to speed up. So this is a note to all beginners. I'm sure more than 90% of you guys are beginners right now. So these roadmaps I'm about to show you, they cover everything that is there to learn. It's a no full scope approach. So once you see it, don't think so don't be intimidated, because it's going to be a long one. I've shared one in the group before. I'm not sure if you saw it, but now I'm going to share one in the group. Don't be intimidated by it. It's just a scope of it's just a landscape. Yes, and I'm trying to very, very simple and very basic. And remember to keep a positive mindset. And it's so Panotanga development as a web developer in 2021. There are 2 paths you can take right now as beginners. I would like to just highlight this funny front end, right? Front end is what you see. Okay. Pretty self-explanatory. Front end to the end, commercial. Just that basic. Then there's this thing called Devops. I'm going to talk about that in hindsight. Not so much about it, but just brief of it. I want you guys to start looking at it. You can go research, of course, it's up to you, but the focus on front end and back end there. So front end, let's talk about front end. The front end of the website is everything the user either sees or interacts with when they visit their website. So front end, we are on a website. That's your front end. And put simply, the front end is a combination of 2 different elements. That's the graphic design, the look, and the user interface, the feel. So the way the website looks, that's your front end. And the way the user interacts with the website. When you click on mouse, when you click on the button, when you highlight text, etc. That's the user. That's the user interaction rate. So a front-end developer now has one general responsibility. So a front-end developer, a web developer now, I look at the front-end to ensure that the website visitors can easily interact with the page. They do this through the combination of design, technology, programming to code the website's appearance, as well as taking care of debugging. So, do you guys know what debugging is? Yeah. Okay. If you don't know what debugging is just a way of looking for or highlighting errors in your code and fixing them. Whereas more than a bug. So, a bug is like a nuisance in your code. You look for it, you remove it, and now your code runs smoothly. So, debugging is the actual word for it. For doing that entire process. So, I want to show you the roadmap for front end development. So, just allow me to share that. Okay, not sure if you'll be able to see that. Let me try zoom in on that. No, I know that looks very long, but don't worry. Half of this I've highlighted in the group, which half of this you can do by yourself without any help. So there's the internet. Then you go to your programming languages. So guys, our website for front end, there are three basic programming languages you use for Java. There's what you call HTML. Are you familiar with HTML? Yeah, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So there are three basic languages you can use to design front end your website, how things look. So hopefully by end of this session, we'll be able to just do a basic website in HTML, CSS, and a bit of JavaScript. We'll see if time allows us to do that. And then there's what you call version control. Version control is just controlling the version of your website. Okay, looks like we're back online. Sorry guys, Shansamu got data saga Nanambo put out of the meeting for a moment. And welcome everyone that's joining online. As you can see, there are people behind me as well. We're here physically. It's good to have you. So I'll just continue from where I left off. I was sharing this screen in the roadmap and just talking about the roadmap. Okay. So that's the roadmap for a front-end developer. It's pretty long, I know, but then guys, when you wrap up, it's really very simple. You won't believe it, how simple these things are. Trust me. Hopefully in the future, to consult some websites, and you will also appreciate sure these things are doable. So for now, I just want you to focus on the internet. You need to understand what the internet does and what it is, and understand HTTP, our browser working with what I was talking about right now. Then we'll discuss what a domain name is and what hosting is in the group. Maybe on an individual basis, I don't know that question. We can jump into that right now. Then we'll talk about HTML, the basics of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We'll also talk about that. So front end, guys, it's basically a website. Is there anyone with a question on front end? What front end sheet? Great. Yeah, I was hoping this would be as simple as that. So let me go back to my presentation and let's continue. Okay, so let's continue. So front-end career opportunity. You can be paid for being a front-end developer, just creating your website, what the people see, what the user interacts with, or you can do website design, which is basically what encompasses UI, which is user interface. Then UX is user experience, right? User interface, what the user sees, user experience, what the user communicates with the website. So those are the jobs that are ready for me in the market right now. What put up in this specific skill set, and you get paid for it. Trust me, bro. And UX or UI or UX designers are front-end developers who focus on user interface and user experience respectively. UI designers own in on the visual aspects, so UI user interface, visual aspects, the design of the website. While UX designers conduct multiple user testing, so that user experience, to ensure the site is working well with preferred users. So to make sure the button no click, can you zoom in, can you zoom out, etc. That's the UX side of things. Let's move on to backend, the database side. Stuff you guys don't see, but you just know it's really important. Go to that website, so back-end development refers to the server side of development, where you're primarily focused on how the site works. So, simple definition, sorry, but very complicated. Simple definition, but gets a bit more complicated here, but still it's really possible. This type of web development usually consists of three parts: a server, an application, and a database. So you have your server, web server, an application, and a database. So an application you use to interact with the web server. That's like software hardware. You need an application to so that you'll be able to communicate with the server. And the database. The database is simple from your prior knowledge of the database, just for information. Right? And code written by developers, so you guys as well, is what communicates the database information to the browser. That's why you're going to do the backend. So I'm supposed to do database. It's not only backend code when they are displayed on the browser. For instance, you want to see a list of my assets. I will take this for Amazon on my phones. I'm using Amazon because I'm sure most of you have dealt with it before. All that information is stored by website. We stored in the database. My phone aripo, my computer aripo, in the database, and that information now is retrieved from the database using backend code. Then that's how you'll be able to see it on your browser. And if you get that, did you get that? Okay. And career opportunities of backend developer. You can be a backend developer, you can be a Java developer, software developer. I say software developer, you can use any back end, or you have choice in it's hard, sometimes more complicated. They get paid more, and you can be a full stack developer. I'm going to talk about what a full stack developer is right after this. So backend development, guys. Mukanga unachukua backend msanya nyo sikisa hii niwaza kama wewe umechoka, but then because of rating plus me. So that's why I want to talk about what I call the coin approach. So the coin is simply something that you tell it. So yes, you front end. Then you must show the next back end. Then how about both? Can someone be both? Right? Can someone be both the front end developer and the back end developer? Yes, you can. Do open and full stack development. So now you're both the front end developer and the back end developer, or the full stack developer. And usually these guys, but anyway, full stack developer is a bit generalist. You know front end, you know back end. And you're familiar with both front end and back end development, but may not have the same depth of knowledge as someone who specializes in either front end or back end. So, the full stack developer, I know from your definition, you may not have the same depth of knowledge, but you can. Both in back-end development and a both in front-end development and still be a full stack developer. That's very possible. So usually when you start developing, that's what you aim for. But development, you know, not copy say we know website, but then what you and then I'm front-end. I didn't know this year, and then I'm going to specialize. I don't know what I can just this. That's up to you. That's the beauty of the development. No one forces you to choose one thing. You can choose both if you want. That's the beauty about things. Being a full stack developer is very nice. I myself would like to be a full stack developer, but then work first in either than losing on a backend developer. But I would like you guys to just aim for full stack developers at first. In your first month, to where there's a do your back end wigger, do your front end wigger. See how it works. It's very simple. I'm sure by the time you import to you have a course already, a class where you'll be able to develop websites. But if not, you can actually start now. What those part 2 of the website. Very simple and very straightforward. And I want to talk about DevOps, but just a slight change. I'm not going to talk anything more than this for 2 minutes. DevOps is a set of practices that combine software development and IT operations. This came to be when management saw what the development team that was a project, then when the team, the IT, did not deploy a project, and you get that. So, document development and operations. So, our team, the IT operations, team, the development to do with it. As much as a project in company, and when they release it, so what when it's communication between the two sides and project, like no cooperate, right? So that's why Papa require a set of practices and DevOps that combine software development and IT operations. It aims to shorten the system development cycle and provide continuous delivery with high software quality. This just means that software package deploy paper, you will still be able to have that feedback from your clients at the same time to improve code in a continuous. That's why it's an infinity loop there. That's what it means there. It's just a way of just ensuring that you keep the software quality and not the communication between the deployment team and the development team. Simple and straightforward. But I want you guys to go do research on this after my master website on video development. You will need to understand what DevOps is because currently my company is below my principles are only understanding. So yeah, without further ado, let's start coding. And mind, I know some of you guys don't have laptops, that's fine. You just watch on each of a screen now. And to those with laptops, I don't want, if you have IDE, you know what an IDE is, IDE, Integrated Development Environment, don't your report. I'm sure you guys have heard of code blocks now, or C++. Is anyone who doesn't know what blocks is or C++? Great. So if you have your code blocks, you can use that one. If you have your C++, you can use it. You have your Visual Studio Code. You can use that one. That's my IDE of preference is Visual Studio Code. That's what I'm going to be using with you. And also, not any of those, you can just use Notepad. Notepad, Notepad, or you can watch what I'm doing online and online it as well. Settings, internet access. You're now forced to use your editors at per screen pane. And speaking of which, whilst you guys are getting your laptops ready, I just want to show you the roadmap for back-end development. So back-end development is pretty interesting, guys. Let me see if I can go there. All right, so that's the back-end roadmap for back-end development. So just look at it. Let me share it online as well. So guys, my roadmaps are actually very critical and they are very important. Please, whenever you're designing anything, make sure you have a clear path of what you're trying to achieve in front of you before you even start, so that you don't waste time. Because development not run time. Unovarerwa nechinhu one but kumberi kune zvinhu zvakawanda. Trust me, you need roadmaps. That's the website for them. You can go there and find them. I'll send them a group. If you want them, you can inbox me or ask in the group. I'll be able to assist you from there. Right. So just look at that. Once you guys are setting up your websites, your laptops, doing with a bit of development before we wrap up this session. I'm going to go put a money with an understanding of and creating websites. Very simple. I've said it before in the group with Java post, and I just want to show you what it means. So guys, you know, this lab is what I'm pictures of everything that we do. So you just have to allow me to take pics of you. If anyone really wants to be seen on the internet. And guys, this is a line on attachment part 3 is also doing computer science, right? Yeah, and he's the co-lead of this club as well. It's actually good to have him. I want part 3. Yeah, the entire room, entire session. So I just want him to take pics so that we can send these to Google. So please can also download. All right. So those joining online, I think I'm just gonna do screenshots. With your IDEs open. Those joining online, also open your IDEs. You can just minimize this window. I think for now you can just hear my voice and then teaching what that is. So please go ahead. Okay, ANG, I'm gonna ask you to just mute your mic. If it's not ANG, I think it's Tando. Can you just mute your mic for a moment? Great. Guys, just get your IDEs ready. Also, just take these screenshots. Okay. So, Aningas, look one up screen. You can just come sit next to me. It's fine. I won't bite you. All right. And also, one other thing I'd like to mention about development. You need to be good at using Google, guys. Before you even ask anything in a group, look for it by internet. It's most probably it's there. Most probably, if not all the time, it's already there. Someone has already done it before. Someone is already has a solution to your problem. So before you come with it to the group, look by internet, learn how to Google, learn how to search. The problem young the E, and I want a solution like this. You will definitely find an answer there. If you don't, now that's where your community comes in. Or if you find one and then it's you need someone to explain it to you in person, you're gonna be in the food community there, but you need to be able to Google things, guys. You have to know vamwe ma-questions anombobvunzwa nevamwe dzimwe nguva ukaenda pagoogle 2 minutes unenge watowana solution, and sometimes it takes longer for people to respond in the group. So actually being able to use Google by yourself there will actually help you a lot. So right on the screen there, let's start coding, and it's HTML tutorial, W3 Schools. So W3 Schools is a website that helped me in my early years of development. So I want you guys to also look at it. You can also download it offline, have it offline, because it's an internet, that's okay. But you can have this online site. If you want me to give you this online site, I can give you, I think, next weekend if I manage to come here. Or you can actually download it by yourself when Wi-Fi comes back. I have this offline version of W3 Schools. I'm going to HTML chat. In programming languages, so let's go to that website now. So I know you guys don't have the internet. If you are home there or those joining online, you can just simply go to w3schools.com. And let's start development. All right, so I'm going to share. I hope this comes out the way I expect it to. Okay, so that's the website there. So those joining online, just give me a moment. I'll share it with you just now. Okay, so you should be able to see the W3 Schools website there. So guys, this is just one of the few websites that are there. You can use one of your choice. If you ever find another website, you can use it. But then this one is what I would like to recommend to you guys, because that's what I used and that's what worked for me. So I want to start with something very basic. Let's start with something very basic. Let me just duplicate my screen. So just a moment. Let me share that with the people that are joining online. Okay. Let's see if I can bring that up. All right, can you guys see from the back? Can you see? No, you can't. Okay, let me just try zoom in a bit. How about now? Is it better? And now? Still? Okay. So let's start with just a definition of what HTML is. So HTML is a programming language, and I'm sure now from hearing your colleagues or your classmates are now familiar with programming languages. There's C, there's Java, there's C++, there's C Sharp, there's Python. So just like those programming languages, HTML is a programming language of some sorts, in quotes. So HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. HTML is the standard markup language for creating web pages. So you must be wondering, why am I reading this to you? I don't want to stand up and about a presentation wearing a mofungwa on face you are using yourself now. So you internet, you can just go there, you can read that. I'm not some boffin or some genius and deserve VSS. So the internet is there to help you. So HTML describes the structure of a web page. So if you have a web page, and web page, and I would like to the first web page to be developed here, and then heading comes through, and it's some text pakatandit. So HTML knows I know it just describes the structure of a web page. Happening by a heading, happening by a paragraph, happening by a picture, happening by a link, happening by a navigation bar, happening by a menu icon, etc. So your HTML code, determine that your structure of the website. That's the first thing. It consists of a series of elements, and we'll talk about these elements in detail. Then HTML elements tell the browser how to display the content. HTML elements piece of content such as this is a heading, this is a paragraph, this is a link, etc. So here's a simple HTML document. So W3 schools, it gives you an online IDE, not just a text editor. So they're what you call code editors. Code editors, no one code, but code. No one text here code, just like Microsoft Word. Just write your code there, but you actually can't do anything with it. That's when because of the difference name IDE. So your IDE is integrated development environments. You'll be able to actually run your code on it and see the results there. So you have your doc type there, which is doc type HTML. So no matter network code. I'm sure some of you have already started. Yes. Okay. So from my experience, HTML basis, but then now one of my frameworks. We use frameworks in any other language, design and structure and all of these. That's one like Java, Python, plus people who run Java, JavaScript, in Angular JS, and there's also React JS. There are a lot of frameworks at the end, but I don't want you guys to start focusing on frameworks, but it's possible to design the structure using something else that's not HTML. But for the purposes of learning and introduction, HTML is the basic, it's the most easiest thing to start using. That will allow you to start. It's
until we post God as actually as we have to study so it's pretty easy to India country
then you will also drink So yeah, HTML is it's underlying code that you won't find a website in HTML kashoma. So those will be one of Shansa W3 schools when you're now in your it's gonna take you to an online IDE. So you'll be able to actually run this code. When I run the doc type, that's where it says doc type there, you're initiating your code, your HTML code. You're telling this document, this is an HTML code. So your IDE would then know the HTML and your. So let me run it like this because my programming languages are not CR. So the way they're actually interpreted by your IDE is different as well. So this is how you tell it, I'm writing HTML code. So start interpreting in HTML. And then you have what you call your opening tags. And that's HTML right there. That's your opening HTML tag and your closing tag as well. Then in the HTML tags, you now have your header, your body, and sometimes your photo. Just depends on the design order ushandisa. So I didn't want to dive straight into development with you guys in this session. I'd like to in the next session after you go do some research, and once what I'm about discussing the previous slide, will make a sense. Now we can start writing code. But for the purposes of something, this is what we're going to do. For those with laptops, I want you to go on your desktops and just create a simple folder. And just write it with the intro to web. So in that folder, we want to just put our first website in there. So put it on your desktop, we'll run it on your desktop, and you'll be actually able to see your website from your desktop. So I know what to put our corner, but just listen to my voice. And those that are joining online, I'll just share my entire screen with you. So that way you'll be able to see what I'm also doing. All right, so I created a folder against intro to web on the desktop. So in that folder, I want you to right click and say new text document there. So let's just write with the intro or index, sorry. Just write with the index, and where it says .text there, just remove that .txt and then type in with HTML like that. And says just save it, and yes. And with some machines, I don't it's like an icon here, your default web browser there. That already right there, you've created your first HTML document. So when you're not indexed or any file name with the .html at the end, you've made that an HTML document. That way, not only it will be interpreted by your web browser as an HTML document. So if I double click on that, it will open up to being this blank web page because and you can see there's nothing on it as well. So like now I so much, but I'm when up at W3 schools panapa and it. Tawana this code run. It will put it at this code against my first heading, my first paragraph. This is a very lazy way of doing things, guys, and I'm sorry to have to do it this way because of time, but I want you guys to actually use your hands and start writing this code mega. But I'm just going to simply copy this code and I'm going to go to that folder to my index.html. So how do I edit this? Because I got double click, I go for a web browser. So to edit it, you just right click on it, open with, then you use the IDE of your choice. So what's number IDE, so you just use Notepad. So just right click, open with Notepad. If you have an IDE, if you have code blocks, right click, open with code blocks. If you have DevC++, right click, open with that. And then I'm going to use Visual Studio Code. So as I said, you're not forced to use Visual Studio Code. It's optional. Shan't say IDE, I'm not, right? And I'm simply going to paste that code in there. And as you can see, why I want to use IDE, we have to format your code already. As you can see, my tags, I think I need that dark blue. Can I zoom in on this? Let's see. All right. I actually never tried zooming in on Visual Studio Code before. But anyway, Lano, any idea on how to zoom in on VS Code? Oh, let's see. There is a way. I just forgot the shortcut of doing it. Appearance. All right, there we go. Yeah. What is it? Yeah, come. All right. So there you go. Your doc tab HTML head page. Now you have your title there. That's the page title. I'll show you what the page title will be on your website. And then your body. And then body what you call your elements. So H1 simply means heading. P means paragraph. So as you can see, it's pretty simple. HTML is very simple, guys. So after you've pasted this code, just Control S and save, and then go back to your browser. Up in a blank page, bye. There you go, and hit refresh. I'm sure now I'm gonna pack my first heading and then the paragraph there. Let me just minimize for the sake of those who are in here. Let's look what's up here. And there you have it, just like that, guys. What on your website? But on the web save or on a website, one out of one sort of just by simply doing that. What when you want my first heading, my first paragraph, like that. And what do these mean? These are just simply elements. And when our W3 schools, that website I was telling you about, if you go there, there's a list of things that can be, there's a list of topics that you need to go through just to understand. You can simply skim through these, one the basics and what it means to write in HTML. For example, the HTML elements, if you click on that, it should take you to a web page that will show you my elements are available at your disposal. Okay, just because my internet is now acting funny, it's now a bit slow, but let's just go through what the code that the Adanura means. So there's this thing, doc type HTML declaration that defines that this document is an HTML5 document. Then the HTML element is the root element of an HTML page. The head is the element contains metadata information about the HTML page. So for example, the page title right at the top there. That's in the head. So if we go back to our code, page title, if we change this page title to example like that, and we save, and we go back to our browser and we refresh, what page title back to example now. That's what it means. That's what's being explained, Panab. Sorry. Okay, and doesn't know my elements, but those I'm going to explain about what's in the metadata in the head of your code. So, guys, what I want you to just do after this session, or during the weekend, or during the course of next week, experiment with this HTML code. See how to make code basic, create really basic, and probably just send in a group, not the links, but because right now it's not hosted on any web server, so you just have to send a document of your code, and just send it to me or in the group. If you want assistance with anything, just ask me what say, because our time is almost up. I don't want to take much of your time. In the next web session, that's when we're just going to jump straight into development, but not on wait out code. How code works. But in the meantime, you can do your own research. You can see how this HTML works. So I'm going to talk about HTML. I want to talk about CSS, but I'm more confused. So in the meantime, just do HTML, basic HTML. You know the title yako, I'd like you guys to just maybe put your name there. So I'll put my name there, that's Tinashe Kufu. And then my first heading will be intro to web dev. My first paragraph will be just explaining or just talking about my experience with today's session. So maybe just to get some feedback from you guys, you can just send me a .html file and a paragraph just telling me about, or telling the community about your first session today. Talk to us, tell me what I enjoyed doing this, I didn't like this, or this should be improved, or I want to see more of that. So in fact, let's make this a feedback form of some sort. So you just give me feedback through this document, whoever is able to make one. Nongo guys, a basic HTML document. Yeah, index.html. You put your title or your name there, and also put your program, your class there and department as well. Just tell me how this event went for you. And can I find this order of our questions? Just put them on in HTML to go to practice and your code here. I'll be the first one to put one. I think after the session, I'll just make a sample for you guys to use. Simply take that, copy paste, and edit. And it's very simple, guys, HTML. And I believe in our next session, I want to touch on just creating a website. So for the purpose of just showing you, which I've made a website myself before. I have this website I've made by myself, and I'll be honest, I use the template for some of the stuff that's there, but this is the end goal I want for you guys to have. And I believe before you guys go for attachment, you always have a website and have your website passively powerful. Trust me, it will give you a higher chance of employment than so what a website does, it just presents you better to whoever is employing you. So whether you're a back-end developer, front-end developer, or you're just doing IT, whatever case it is, if you have a website, I believe it tells a different story about you. I'll tell you from my recent experience with the HR department from where I work, what got them interested in even calling me for an interview is because I got a website. Yeah. And you must be wondering, is it money or is it expensive? ETC? No, it's not. You can actually deploy your website for free. I don't know if you can see kumsoro upane pakanzi https tinashegufu.github.io/home. So I've actually hosted this website for free using GitHub. So after my website, when I talked about version control session and data, it will show you about GitHub and how to actually host your website for free with GitHub. For free, guys. No dollar, no 2 cents or anything required. It's for free, and you put that on your CV, and it does wonders for you. I also have my own website I host by myself. I'll show you about web hosting. I'm not sure if it's up right now. It's called tinashegufu.co.zw. Let me just see if it's up. Last went there a while back. Okay, it's down right now, but it's the same as this one. It hosted by GitHub. So this is just the landing page. So it's just one page. I know about or contact or anything. It's just one page. Just goes down talking about myself. I'll send you a link if you want to see a link of it in the group. I'll send it to you. So this is just talking about myself. Hello there. My full name, my contact details, my address, my social media handles, my resume, which also shows my work experience. I'm also an Android app developer. I've done some game development in the past as well. I'm also a junior web developer and still an undergraduate computer science student. And it will also show you my high school, secondary school, primary school, and the services I offer, which is web design, game design, Android app design, web development, database administration, software engineering, so forth. You guys, you can go on that website and see if you want to copy or want to get some innovation or inspiration for what you use for your website. You can just go there. It also shows my skills rated as percentages. There's HTML5, CSS3. This is basically HTML and CSS. And then you have Kotlin for mobile development, Java for mobile development. So these are just simply my programming languages. So don't be confused. You will learn about this in the future. Stuff will begin to make sense eventually. But in the meantime, draw down an HTML, but at the end, you want to create something like this. So hopefully by the end of this semester, if we get time, because most of you are going to be complaining about data, opening my sessions from home, etc. So it's going to be tricky, but I hope that by the end of this semester, we make something basic. Not like this, but something basic. My website saying I created something basic. I'm not sure if you see, it looks like a Wikipedia page there. I'm not sure that's a link gradually, but no, I didn't. So I'll show you that in the group as well. That's what I want to create by the end of this semester. It looks like a Wikipedia page of myself there. So that's what I want to create. And these are some of the projects I've done in the past. I'm here to update this because I've done a lot more. And I also have a GitHub account. You can go see my projects and type up. Sometimes I make them private. I'll try to make most of them public for you guys to see. And contact me. We'll go to my back end. If someone wants to contact you, just click on contact me, or fill in the contact form, and then Kanama advanced maybe next semester to tell out as a back end and how things work at the back end. How do you receive my emails, actually my contacts? How do you actually get information from there? So pretty interesting. And what's there is it's a map of my address. Up I now load because my internet is pretty terrible. But if my internet was stable, if I have a map of my where I live or where my business is located. So I mean my companies, or if you have a brand and you want to put your location, you actually put a Google map there. It's easier for your users. You just go there, go click a Google map and walk to the Google name, map. And as you can see, I created this website in 2019. I think I was still in part one then. So it's very possible for you guys to do this with the use of templates. You don't have to create it from scratch. You can use templates. They're free templates to use on the internet. Just go there, use template, but you need to know how to tweak it so that the site doesn't look plagiarized. So just tweak it, get some innovation from it, and just work through it. And from there, you'll be able to design a website that looks nice and to get you a job, just like that. So basically, that's the end of my presentation, guys. It was good to have you. I think I'll just entertain a couple of questions if there are any. I'll also go online to see if there are any questions for me there. Besides that, that's the end of the presentation. So just to wrap things up for you, when you get the time to do so, create an HTML file. And I can like basic, put a heading, put a paragraph, put my headings and one if you want, and put some paragraphs. Talk to me about today's event. Talk to me about anything about yourself in particular, and they just send it in the group. I want to look at it. I will look at it, but I don't know what I want to go then websites about. And then from that input, I'll be able to tell you what can we do next. So for now, I'll just entertain some questions. So I don't hold you guys for long. Any questions for me? Yes, sir.
Hi. So my question is everybody in this room things
Don't have e-commerce, don't fund the websites, because they are easy and simple. I've had a lot of friends of mine who enter e-commerce and some of the FU right now on websites, but they didn't know this stuff they could have done by themselves, and it was not in most cases they'll be charged for a website they could have created themselves for free. And you find when I go to start their projects, you charge something like $70 or $100 for assistance with creating. This is just assistance with creating what this work, but you can actually create one by yourself by simply learning. Give yourself 3 weeks of learning. You'll actually create a website and be able to present as a project. Just a moment. So you don't have to be doing computer science or software development in your code, guys. I think I need to just stress that more in the group. Code is very simple. It's meant for everyone. It's open source. You can go on the internet. The tools are there for you. And that's why it's in a community at GDSC and MSA as well, is to help you guys even was code. Because one is when to computer science and software engineering, you learn some of this stuff in class, and you guys are wondering going just a book from CS or software engineering. But you can still learn on the internet. There are tutorials there for you. If you want assistance with that from scratch, I can help you, give you the basics you need for development. It doesn't even have to be websites. It can be mobile app development. You can still do that even if you also get to computer science or anything tech related. You can still design something completely out of the world just from having curiosity or putting in that effort your own away. So it's very possible. So answer you right? Yes, sir.
How can I get access to
What's the link? Okay, I can send you the link. Just make sure you see me after the meeting. And you can give me your contact details. I'll send you the link to the WhatsApp group and you can join. It's already been passed around. I'm sure there's some part ones that you know, not all our other one, but part ones are more easy. So I'll just give you the link and you can join. And GSC, no subscriptions, don't pay anything to be part of the club. It's completely free. So don't worry about subscriptions or anything. If you ever host an event or a festival, it will be entirely sponsored by Google. They'll pay for everything, the food, the presenters, and anything you use during that event. It's covered by Google. So that's one of the beauties of being part of the club. But if you guys want to do stuff when you make like t-shirts, your own t-shirts or banners or flyers, you have to use your own money for that. But they say that you don't need to pay subscriptions. I'll show you some t-shirts I have for DSC. If you want some, you can just tell me. I can talk to someone who can make them for you. Really very low cost. Any other questions? Yes.
This was actually against peace. So isn't it that with the use of those online templates, we can just design it? Is it that the online market for France in developers technology?
Okay. So because now you're exposed to this, you now know. And from my experience in the working field, I've met a lot of people who want it rather website. So yes, if you're now in the industry, you need to more specialize on the front end because now I'm in tendency to do other things like WordPress to create websites for you. You don't need templates anymore. You have Wix is a growing online platform to create websites on. So you must wonder which front end that you look about. That's a good question. But then there are people who are preferred or custom plans right now, and you simply can't do most of the stuff in materials. So that's where you need that knowledge of front-end development. So there are cases where you need your own front-end development. So yes, job opportunities are still big, however, the identity of business. But you can never go wrong with front end, with back end as well, because back end can simply fit in any back end function. It's still a job for you all. But front end is a bit tricky. That's why I would opt for people to sort of aim full stack developers, but you will get jobs out of the end front end. Or then you want to comment that if you get reference to your work experience.
It's only very good to try to do stuff. And also to try to know what we have to do.
That's also one thing. So yeah, right now it's a career choice. I wouldn't recommend saying you want to be a front-end web developer entirely, but it's completely up to you. There are still opportunities for you that way. However, since you're a developer now and all of this is at your disposal, just make sure the front-end web development is in your pocket. That makes us know you can do this because you're now able to do it. So yeah. Any other questions, guys? All right, cool. It was good to have you. Hopefully, I'll be able to see you in our next session. Right now, I'm not clear, but just I'll keep you posted in the group. All right, one more question, please. Sorry? So guys, thank you so much for coming. Hope you learned something. I'm really looking forward to your feedback in the group. Lord Nyazo you guys have done something and we can move on. And it. So that's it for now. You guys can go and enjoy your weekend. All right, to those joining online, thank you so much. Mr. Makausi, good to have you, sir. We've reached the end of our session. Now I'll be stopping the virtual meeting now. Saka imanje HTML manje yaseyanisi saka chitokisa disakodi yes saka HTML nokutangana pamodzi doctor ipapa HTML izvobvisa ichi nechepasingi